You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Frightmares Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for episode 374 is my good friend, Cory Johnson.
Heyo, everybody. I am enough. I deserve happiness, and I take full charge of my life today.
Such a great line from Nicholas Hoult. I forgot about that at the end, and I was like, you know what? You are enough, Nicholas Hoult. Today, on another installment of Vampril's Bites, we are discussing our modern pick, Renfield, from 2023, a movie that goes to show Nicolas Cage can literally do fucking anything. Let's see where this lands in the Nightmare Index. All right. I know it's only been a weekish since we did Afflicted, but have you watched anything?
Yeah, Jessica and I took a day or two to watch season 2 of Paradise, and let me tell you, those last, 2 episodes, goddamn, we have not been so excited to feel like we have come to an understanding of what the show is trying to tell you. Like, oh my God, this is happening because of this thing. Oh, like we were shouting at each other because of how excited we were for certain revelations to come about. Oh. Because they were building and building like a few key points through the entire season. And every time they brought it up, we would look at each other and be like, what the fuck is this? Who the fuck are they talking about? And by those last 2 episodes, you're like, oh man, the payoff feels so sweet. And they're doing a 3rd season, which, I mean, they fucking have to at this point. But oh man, it's some real good TV. I will say, it gets ultra mega super sci-fi like really quick. Like, it goes from like, oh okay, this is like, I mean, yeah, it's sci-fi, but in sort of kind of like a vague realm of believability. And now it's just like full blown, like, no, this is just full on sci-fi. Like, there may or may not be time travel.
Okay.
That they're just casually introducing at the end of the 2nd season.
What is this one again? I don't know.
It's called Paradise.
Yeah, but
it's on Disney Plus Hulu. Huh. It's the political murder mystery kind of whodunit, but there's like some sci-fi elements to it.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's season 2 is done.
Season 2 is done.
It is
yes.
done. Okay.
It just recently renewed for a season 3. I absolutely highly recommend it. It's really fucking good TV.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's been it. I've been mostly just playing video games.
That's fair. Well, you know me at this point. I watch too many movies. I come with a lot of things I've watched.
It's almost like you do a movie podcast and associate with people who do movie podcasts.
I can't believe how many I've watched since Afflicted. It's actually crazy. I'm not going to go over all of these, but I will. Well, I might go. I'll at least give ratings on them. So I did watch the new Faces of Death. So fun fact, that Scream Unseen that I went to see last Tuesday when we recorded was actually Faces of Death. So I got to
that's fucking sick.
Yeah, so I got to see it a few days before it released, and then I put out my review. So that movie is fucking awesome. Definitely better than the original, in my opinion. It does involve the original in some capacity, but it's not like necessary to view the original. You can keep up with this one. So that one was really good. I don't want to go in.
Speaking of Faces of Death, do you know how bummed I am that the closest theater to me is in another state that's showing it?
What? Really?
Yeah. It's like an hour 27 to that theater, or I could drive 2 hours to Richmond.
Oh my, wow. That's, I mean, I guess it's an independent film, so that makes sense, but damn, dude.
Yeah.
If only I had a screener. Then I watched a movie. This isn't a horror movie, but I'll be damned if it's not horror adjacent. It's called Killers from 2014, and it's actually directed by Timo Chayanto, if I'm saying that correctly. He directed the VHS 2 segment, the cult one, fucking Safe Haven, and he also directed the
that's the one with all the
it's the cult. It's the Indonesian cult.
Okay, yeah.
So he directed that. He also directed The Subject from VHS 94, which is the one about that battle robot he's putting together. And then
that one was interesting.
And then also directed by Kimo Stamboel, he directed The Queen of Black Magic from 2019, which we fucking love.
Fuck yeah.
And he did The Elixir from last year, which was a really fun zombie movie. So and it's also from the producers of The Raid. Like, fucking, this movie was incredible, very dark and disturbing, but it was just beautiful at the same time. Highly recommend that. I don't see it streaming it's on Tubi and Plex. You can stream it there. I gave it a 4.5. That was a crazy movie. Watched Bumblebee. I'm almost done with the fucking Transformers movie. Bumblebee was actually fucking awesome. It was so much better than the last two movies. 4 stars. Showed Gabby the host, Bong Joon-ho's creature feature from 2006. She loved it. 4 stars from me. And then, of course, I'm still on my true crime kick. I watched something called I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which is about the Golden State Killer. He went on like a 12-year tear of just like raping and murdering people and didn't get caught until like the late 2010s. Wild shit. Trust Me, I'm a False Prophet, which is about the FLDS. If you don't know about the fundamentalist Latter-day Saints, they're fucking insane. They're nuts. Gave that one a 4 star. Gave I'll Be Gone in the Dark 4.5. Then these are the two I'm most excited to talk about right here. Minnie's Midnight Massacre, brand new for this year, 2026. It is exactly what you think it is. It's Minnie Mouse slasher movie. I think we need to cut it out with these at this point. I'm all for the Poohniverse as they've dubbed it, like the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, Bambi the Reckoning. I'm all there for that. But specifically with Minnie and Mickey Mouse, we have to cut it out. We have 5 different Mickey Mouse movies, and now we have a Minnie Mouse movie. I'm fucking tired of these. They're all awful. Except for Scream. Screamboat was actually a lot of fun. But
it's punk music as movies. They're just doing it to do it and like cause a ruckus.
Right.
Like it's anti-authoritarian Disney, fuck the mouse. Like I get it. And you know what? More power to them. You don't have to watch them.
Yeah, I just saw it on Tubi and I saw 2026 and I was like, I'm on the hunt for every new movie this year, so I watched it. And then Netflix dropped a new shark movie, creature feature, whatever, called Thrash. And it's literally Crawl, but with sharks, and not done half as good. It was terrible. Because when you involve a Category 5 hurricane, as a Floridian, I'm looking for every single fucking fault. And there were plenty of faults, because a Category 5 hurricane, what people might not know, it is sustained winds of 150 miles an hour minimum, not including gusts. And people are just like outside and it's kind of briskly windy. And I'm like, you can't say a Category 5 and not have wind blowing atrociously.
Like, most Floridians evacuate for that.
A Category 5 is no joke.
Like 85% of the state is fucking evacuating at that point.
Yeah, if you're on the coast, you're getting out. If you're inland, it's going to be rough, but nonetheless, it wasn't great. The characters were all so unlikable. And like there were just so many questionable decisions. Like people weren't boarding up windows. I saw one montage of sandbags. People were just sitting on their couch like nothing was about to happen. This isn't this isn't a fucking tornado where they just pop up. You know about hurricanes for like weeks in advance sometimes.
The natural born Floridians in us just kind of hear that and we're like, come on, man.
Come on.
You're taking me out of the movie.
Just say hurricane. Don't label it a Category 5, because the fucking town would have been demolished. Because it's a coastal town in they put it in like South Carolina. And within 5 minutes of the storm rolling up onto shore, the whole town gets flooded. And I'm talking like 6-7 feet of water. I'm like, that's so unrealistic. We're at sea level and that wouldn't even happen. So I don't know, but the positives of this one, the sharks actually did look pretty fucking decent. I was actually pretty impressed with that. There is some solid gore, but I mean, there's so many plot points that I was like, this is wild. Like there's a daughter and her uncle. Well, I guess not. She's not her daughter, but there was an uncle and her niece. The uncle's like fucked off 100 miles away doing research on sharks, just leaving his niece at home. I was like, that's the most unrealistic thing I've ever seen. Just a lot of questionable things. So Minnie's Midnight Massacre got a 1 star. Thrash got a 1.5. But Netflix just dropped a brand new Taiwanese movie called Mudborn, and it's really fucking good. I love Southeastern Asian movies, even though technically Taiwan is not included in that, and I don't know why, but they're close enough to be labeled Southeast Asia. It is really good, and I don't think it's a Netflix original, but it is available on Netflix. It's got a 2.7, but it might be people from that country. Like we had this discussion before. Like with The Host, it didn't have the great ratings, but and a lot of the reviews I saw were in Indonesian. Like, and I'm assuming they have. But like the lore in this movie, I'm like, I've never fucking seen anything like this before. This is insane. So I gave it 4.
Yeah, but it's I equate it to, it's why when you go out to eat, you don't go somewhere where you can cook the same thing at home.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to a really nice Mexican restaurant. I'm going to Italian. Like, you're going somewhere where you can't get it where you're at.
Yeah.
So when you get that foreign horror movie, especially that Southeast Asian, I'll say Asian in general.
Fair.
It just hits different. It satisfies on a level that you can't normally attain.
Yeah, and Asia in general for sure, but for me specifically, something about Taiwan, Thailand, and Indonesia, like those fucking horror movies they just hit. So I recommend that one. And then 2 more movies I saw that were new for this year. Exit 8, which is based off of that video game I've never played, but if you know the game, you'll know the movie. It was actually pretty incredible for taking a game that can be beat relatively quickly, and they added so many layers to it, and it's totally an allegory for fatherhood, and it won't make sense until you watch it. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't as horror as I thought it was going to be, but the subtext was so thick. I fucking loved it. 4 stars. And then Hunting Matthew Nichols, which is a new found footage movie for this year, mockumentary, whatever you want to call it. Very much in the vein of Shelby Oaks, because her brother's been missing for 20 years or something, and she's going to look after him. But unlike Shelby Oaks, where it switches from mockumentary to traditional style filming, this is all mockumentary, and the outcomes are just so wildly different. So I give that one a 4.5. I thought that one was really good. Other than that, I think that's it. Oh, and then I watched Conversations with the Killer, John Wayne Gacy, 3.5, and The Ripper, also 3.5. All those are on Netflix, the true crime stuff. And I still have a list of stuff I need to go through. I don't know what it is right now. I'm into true crime. It's just my fucking bread and butter right now. So that was a gauntlet of movies that I have watched. And this weekend we're going to see The Mummy, Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which is exciting.
I am hyped for that.
I'm very hyped for The Mummy, and especially after what he did with Evil Dead Rise. I know that is very, very divisive among fans, but I really enjoyed it, so I am really interested to see his take on another IP that's existed for, quite some time. So.
And it was really funny because when we saw the trailer, Jessica was like, "Oh, why are they redoing The Mummy and blah blah blah?" And I was like, "No. It's no. It's not The Mummy. It's Lee Cronin's The Mummy." Exactly. Like there's that name qualifier is doing a huge amount of lifting there.
Yep.
To differentiate, it is in no way to be Brendan Fraser related.
Or even the original Mummy with fucking Boris Karloff.
It's
not even close.
No, this is a different thing. It's just using the monster.
Yeah. I have forgotten to mention my cult movie challenges, but I will do that on the next episode because I've already gone through entirely too many movies, but I forgot to do one last week, and I was going to do this one this week, but we're already at about 15 minutes, and I want to get into the movie. So yeah, next week I'll also update everybody on The Mummy and what I thought about it. I don't think anything else is releasing this weekend as far as horror, but I know May there's some stuff coming out. So with all that being said, let's move on to the body counts. All right, so this is Renfield from 2023, released on April 14th of that year in the US. Rated R for bloody violence, some gore. I'd argue there's a lot more than some. Language throughout and some drug use, no sex and nudity, severe violence and gore, severe profanity, mild alcohol, drugs, and smoking, and moderate frightening and intense scenes. Coming in at only an hour and 33 minutes, listed as an action comedy fantasy horror. Directed by Chris McKay, he also directed the Lego Batman movie and the Tomorrow War. Written by two people, Ryan Ridley, he wrote 25 episodes of Community and 10 episodes of Rick and Morty. And then we have Robert Kirkman, who wrote 177 episodes of The Walking Dead and 113 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. Didn't even know there were that many fucking episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. Composed by Marco Beltrami, this man has worked. He composed Scream 1 through 4 and Scream 7, but no one cares about that. A Quiet Place 1 and 2, and the entire Fear Street trilogy, plus a multitude of other things I didn't have time to mention. Cinematography by Mitchell Amundsen, who also did the cinematography for Transformers, the original, Wanted, and Odd Thomas. Then we have edited by three fucking people here. Zine Baker edited Observe and Report, This Is the End, and Thor Ragnarok. Ryan Folsley, he did Cabin Fever, Club Dread, and then the Addams Family 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, that one.
Fester's Revenge.
The Fester's Revenge, the animated one, whatever. Then we have Giancarlo Gonziano, who also edited 61 episodes of South Park. Starring Nicholas Hoult as Renfield, who, funny enough, was also in Nosferatu as Thomas Hutter, the Robert...
I did make mention of that while we were watching.
I forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah, he was in that. Nicolas Cage is Dracula. I'm not telling you who he is, because you should know this man. Awkwafina as Rebecca. She was also in The Farewell as Billy, which is a beautiful movie, very sad, but I think she became popular in Crazy Rich Asians. Then we've got Ben Schwartz as Tedward Lobo. Everyone knows him from Parks and Rec. He was in 20 episodes as John Ralphio Saperstein. And then this is a mouthful, Shorey Agdalashu as Bella Francesco Lobo, who was also in The Exorcism of Emily Rose as Dr. Adani, something that we've covered. I did not know how bad this movie bombed. $65 million budget, worldwide box office gross of 26.5. They didn't even make half of their money back.
I mean, I supported it in the theater.
I supported it too. I can't believe this movie failed. It's Nick Cage as Dracula. What else do you...
That's okay. That's why. That's why it failed. 100%. Because I think everybody had gotten to the point where like the memification of Nick Cage happened. True. And then no one could really take him all that. Like he had just finished doing The Incredible Weight of Unbearable Talent, where he plays himself playing a secret agent going to stop a cartel or whatever. And then Pedro Pascal knows him as Nick Cage, and it was just like Nick Cage fan service to Nick Cage.
But I mean, this is also coming off of the heels of Mandy, Color Out of Space, Willy's Wonderland. Like he did 3 pretty fucking solid horror movies before this. So
yeah, but I will also say that those 3 movies kind of niche. Like little tiny bit niche.
Yeah, Mandy is definitely pretty niche. It's a very specific,
super cosmic, and
it's Panos. Like it's Panos Cosmatos, baby. He's fucking brilliant filmmaker. Oh my god. But yeah, that is very niche. You're right. So maybe that's why it bombed, because the people like me who are like, it's Nick Cage's Dracula, what else do you need? The opposite is like, yeah, it's Nick Cage's Dracula, I don't want that. So maybe that's why it failed.
Yeah.
You can watch this on Peacock. Movies that came out around the same time. We've got Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Clock, Murder Mystery 2, Beau is Afraid, Nefarious, The Pope's Exorcist, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is also probably another reason this one did not do well, and The Little Mermaid, which made about $500 million, and Fast X. So those 3 movies brought in heaps of money. I'm not surprised this didn't do well. IMDb summary: Renfield, Dracula's tortured henchman, is forced to capture prey for his master and do his every bidding. God, but now after centuries of servitude, Renfield is ready to see if there is life outside of his boss's shadow. Let's roll into the autopsy. All right, Cory, overall thoughts on Renfield. You said you saw this in theaters, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like your second, maybe third time?
I think second time.
All right, so what do we got for overall thoughts?
So before we go into overall thoughts,
here we go.
1 second.
Here we go.
So for the briefest of moments, I forgot that the DC brand came out with a Shazam franchise of movies. And when you said Shazam 2, I was like, holy shit, they got Sinbad to do another one. Oh, that's all. I'm dumb. That's all.
Where has Sinbad been? Motherfucker's so funny.
So overall thoughts on this movie is it is absolute comedy gold with just enough in the background to count it as horror. But man, it is a splattering good time.
I love it.
And that's it.
I love it. I do think truly this is, I said this on the Afflicted episode, but this still rings true here. I think this is one of the most unique vampire stories, but it also has traditional lore at the same time. You also have a New Orleans setting, a story from Renfield's perspective, and not to mention that there's this whole crime family element that just adds to the insanity. You've got Nick Cage as Dracula. What else could you possibly want? That is my overall thoughts. I do want to start with the since this is Renfield, the origin of Renfield. because I did some digging and I did some research. So R.M. Renfield is a fictional character, obviously, who actually appeared in the 1897 Bram Stoker's Gothic novel. He is Count Dracula's deranged, frantically devoted servant and familiar, helping him in his plan to turn Mina Harker into a vampire in return for a continuous supply of insects to consume and the promise of immortality. Throughout the novel, he resides in an asylum where he is treated by Dr. John Seward. Renfield has literally been around as long as Dracula, 129 years to be exact, which is wild to me. He's probably the longest running character next to Dracula, because the Universal monsters didn't get really introduced until 1931 with Dracula, and I believe Frankenstein was also that year. Maybe it was 35. So it's crazy that it took 100 and something years for Renfield to get his own story, because this is the first time a movie has told Dracula's story through the eyes of Renfield. And that's why I find this to be a very unique Dracula movie, because it is about Dracula, but it's more about Renfield's journey and getting away from Dracula. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I didn't realize the character popped up that long ago.
Yeah, neither did I, because it's been way too many years since I actually read that book, because it's all fucking letters.
It's how it's worded is strange. So he is described in the original novel as optimistic, temperamental, great physical strength, morbidly excitable, with periods of gloom. And then, of course, Nosferatu would be the first unofficial adaptation of Bram Stoker's novel, because they didn't have permission to actually make a Dracula movie, so they titled it Nosferatu. And the character of Renfield is actually named Knock. So he appears in Nosferatu under a different name, and it actually combines him with Mr. Hawkins, the employer and hero, Harker, renamed Thomas Hutter. So the character of Renfield from 1922 to 2024 appears in 16 other Dracula movies, 6 TV series, and has various names like Ludwig, Milo Renfield, Thomas Renfield, Percival Renfield, which I really like, Frank Renfield, and then Robert Montague Renfield from this movie. And then it's funny because Robert Eggers actually paid homage to the original Nosferatu, no shock there, by calling that character Knock as well. So the Renfield character in Robert Eggers is the same name as the original Nosferatu. So I
need to rewatch that movie.
I did the original, and then I did a documentary, and then I did Eggers, and watching all three of those together, I was like, this is good shit. Eggers did such an incredible job with that. And if you've never seen Shadow of the Vampire, I highly suggest you watch that, because it is a film about making Nosferatu. It's like a film about making a film, and it's fucking great. So
interesting.
And they recreate a lot of the shots from the original movie. It's very good. So the story of how Renfield and Dracula come to be partners is the same, but we get to see why Renfield is devoted to this vampire. Dracula is the last person that Renfield has left in the world, and in a world that has moved around him for 200 years, maybe part of Renfield feels like he owes Dracula something for giving him immortality. After decades of serving Dracula, Renfield finds himself suddenly struck by his conscience and the sneaking suspicion that his boss might be something of a narcissist. Do you think? So Renfield gives a character that is meant to be a horrifying, cruel monster a more humane touch as they dress him in pastels from Macy's and hint at the possibility of falling in love with a human woman. The film doesn't let you forget that Renfield's morality is skewed, though. Dracula's reminders of Renfield's abandonment of his former family, his greed, and his inability to do most tasks correctly and without death. Through all this, though, we see that Renfield is trying to be a better person, or at least a less murderous one. Whether Renfield is a good person or not is not the point of the story, rather finding the freedom to be independent is the heart of this story. So that is kind of the background of Renfield as a character into this adaptation here. So, with all of that being said, I think this is a movie that sounded very weird on paper. I don't know about you, but I think this was a huge swing that works, but apparently not at the box office.
For me, I think on paper, it makes more sense on paper than it does on screen.
Interesting. Okay.
I think somebody on paper was like, yo, let's make Nicholas Hoult, notorious from Skins, the most aloof member of that cast for many years. Let's make him a meek, weird guy and act him against Nicolas Cage playing Dracula and see what the fuck happens.
Okay.
And then they did some testing and they were like, okay, yeah, let's write a movie around this.
Well, yeah,
I think on paper it was like, oh yeah, no, that makes total sense. And then they got it on screen and they were like, well,
see, and I love when this happens because for me, it's like, you know, if on paper, it's a modern day retelling of Dracula told from the perspective of his familiar with action and comedy and buckets of gore. Not really present in most Dracula adaptations. Yeah, sure, there's blood and stuff, but the action and the comedy, like this movie, is just really not a thing in most, Dracula movies. I think it's a risky mix, but it isn't just an interesting concept. To me, it fully commits to everything. It doesn't half-step in between tones. It goes all the fuck in, and sometimes it works beautifully. Sometimes it's a little messy, but I don't think it's ever boring. There is a little bit too much going on at times. I think they were trying to do just a little too much with the whole cop aspect and the crime family, but I think by the end of it, it all came together very well, at least for me, because it did kind of seem like it was getting a little strange there for a bit.
So I'm just gonna say,
sure,
yes to all of that. However, it could be instantly fixed with just no Awkwafina.
Not a fan of Awkwafina?
Not really. She has the same tone in goddamn everything.
Yeah.
Like, she may have a different name than Awkwafina, but she's just being Awkwafina in the movies. And I mean, fine, it's your brand. People like it, do you?
Yeah.
She's not for me.
Yeah, I'm not like, I don't necessarily love her, but I don't necessarily dislike her. The first thing I remember seeing her in was a movie called The Farewell, and it's like I mentioned before, it actually is a very beautiful movie, and that's probably one of the few movies she plays a different character, different than the typical role she plays. But yeah, I mean, she kind of is not a one-note actor, but it's like, it's like Ryan Reynolds. He's great, but he's the same fucking thing in every movie. Like he has.
Yeah, and I'm starting to feel that way about him too.
Yeah. So he's just, that's who he is, and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of getting tired of this shtick at this point.
Because aside from being an extra force to tie him to Teddy Lobo, like, she doesn't really have a whole lot of, like, push in this movie. Like, you can still get Renfield tied up with Teddy Lobo by going to the bar and just have, one of the support group people ask to meet Renfield at the bar for something, and boom, there you go.
Yeah, because the only tie that Awkwafina has is that the crime family has her sister. I mean, that's really it. You could literally get rid of that entire storyline and the movie would work just as good, if not better.
And she's the uncorruptible, so they want to try and scare her. But, like, they could just be out terrorizing and it works just as well.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. So she, I'm kind of whatever on her in this movie. Obviously, Renfield here, though, is the highlight. He is the main character. And typically, he is just a side character in these movies. He's a weird little guy in a jail cell eating bugs, talking about the master. But now he's the protagonist. And more importantly, he is a victim. The movie reframes his relationship with Dracula as something very modern. It's not loyalty, it's abuse. He's being gaslit. He's in this toxic relationship where he's being manipulated into serving Dracula. And this is made evident in the beginning of the movie when he has the chance to rid the world of Dracula. Like, in the opening fucking scene, as he has him trapped in that circle of protection, and Dracula basically says that Renfield needs him. I'm your only friend. fucking gaslit. Like, and then he ends up saving him. Like, so he could have rid the world of Dracula knowing that, but I think at that point he still wasn't sure. That's why by the end of the movie, when he's trapped in that circle of protection again, he's like, all right, I'm not letting this happen a second time. We're going to do whatever we can to demolish Dracula. So, but I love that he's attending support groups, trying to unpack his situation, trying to figure out what autonomy even looks like after decades of servitude. And I think it works because of Nicholas Hoult. I do feel I don't know if he's underrated. I don't know. But he's a great actor, and he plays Renfield with just enough awkwardness and sincerity that you believe, you buy into the struggle that he's having.
Yeah, he's kind of like British Michael Cera's older brother.
Okay. All right.
Like the awkwardness is there, but he was the first kid, so he's got a little bit more swagger too.
Right. Very good comparison. I love that. But what's funny is it's like less than like servant to Dracula. It's more like an employee who can't quit his job. And then of course you have the boss. And let's just say it, Nicolas Cage as Dracula is exactly what this movie needed. But I will say, before, like when we got the announcement that this was happening, my mind went in two directions. I was like, can Nicolas Cage actually do this? But I'm also very excited to see what he can do with this. And I saw one picture of him behind the scenes with fully in makeup, and he was not striking a pose, but he was walking. And I said, "Oh, this is gonna be good." It's like, there's no way.
So like, there was the split for me. I was like, he could throw us a huge curveball and do like, put in the effort that he did for like Leaving Las Vegas.
Right.
Or it could be Dracula in Con Air. We don't know.
Yeah. Like, how much Cage are we going to get here? You know, there's a sliding scale.
Yeah. Are we gonna get Nikki Coppola, or are we going to get Nicolas Cage? Like, who's coming out? Yeah.
Like Raising Arizona or fucking Mandy, because those are wildly different performances. And like, the thing is I don't think he really reinvents it, but he does modernize it in a pretty subtle way, because he almost goes full classic, very theatrical, almost Bela Lugosi inspired old school vampire energy, but filtered through Nicolas Cage's brain. And the result to me is a perfect mix of menace, camp, and complete unpredictability. Like you have no idea.
Yeah, like only Nicolas Cage's Dracula would think to take over the world.
Right. Because that's really not the case in most vampire movies. They just need blood and
they want like the one person.
Yeah. So but like total world domination, it only would happen through Nick Cage. And every time he's on screen, the movie wakes up. There's such a weight to his performance, but also the sense that, you know, things could go completely off the rails at any moment. And that's exactly how Dracula should feel. I truly think he just did such a wonderful job. And this is exactly what happens when you give Nicolas Cage full permission to be Dracula. I'm sure, and I wonder this too with a lot of performances with Nicolas Cage. I believe I talked to Jenna Cannell, who is from the first Terrifier and was also in this movie as one of the support group members. It was an episode a couple years back where we talked about Nicolas Cage and the small amount of time she interacted with him. And I'm pretty sure at one point they were talking to Nicolas Cage, and he was like, you know, like how much do you want me to go into this? And they were like, just full blown into it. And he was like, oh, okay, so you want the full Cage experience. Like, I got it. I'm pretty sure that's what we were talking about. I'd have to go listen to it, but yeah, he's just so good. I was watching it last night. I think this was the third time I had watched it, and I'm fucking cackling every single time he pops up. He plays such a razor thin line of being completely horrifying, but I'm kind of also, you're kind of funny at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, do you get that vibe?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Like, and one of the things that I said was he is getting mileage out of those prosthetic gums and fangs.
Yes.
Just like every chance he is like baboon grit, like folding his fucking teeth, like lips back so you can get all up in that mouth. Like he was doing that almost more than talking.
Yeah, which is great. And he's got the, a little bit longer fingers and the nails, the hair slicked back. And he really proves that he can be funny and then immediately unsettling, which reinforces the central idea of the movie that is Dracula's a monster. He's a manipulator. And the manipulation is where the movie's themes really start to come through here, because at its core, Renfield is, being stuck in a toxic relationship that is actively destroying you, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. He isolates Renfield. He convinces him that everything is his fault, that he needs him. I mean, this is textbook emotional abuse. And the movie doesn't just use that as the background. It builds the entire story around Renfield trying to break free from it. Like, I never thought there would be this much subtext in a Dracula movie and commentary on real things that people experience.
In a Dracula comedy movie.
Right. Like, there is no need for the story to go so deep in what is essentially a full-blown bloodbath of insanity. But here we are,
Yeah, that would be like Twilight commenting on wealth inequality. Like, it just doesn't really fit.
It doesn't fit, but here it fits perfectly in here. Because there's a surprising amount of sincerity. Like, under all the gore and comedy, it's a story about reclaiming yourself and who you are instead of letting someone else tell you who you are. So, which I find fascinating. I mean, in Renfield, I think he was 90 years about what he said. He's been in this toxic relationship for 90 fucking years. I mean, my heart goes out to Renfield. I'm like, I was in a toxic relationship for like 2 years and that was enough. I couldn't imagine doing it for 90. My goodness.
So, you've mentioned it a few times, and I would like to go into this a little bit. The gore and the blood. My God, the choreography of this movie to lead up to the blood and gore is so fucking sick.
It is so good.
Like these fight scenes, I'm just sitting there like, John Wick who? Like goddamn, beating a man with his own arms is next fucking level. And just everybody getting thrown around and like chopping a man's arms off with a fucking dinner plate. Like, oh, it's so well, and it's just so good, and it flows so like they fit so many fight scenes into this movie. Like,
oh yeah,
a Matrix level of fight scenes in this movie.
Which is crazy because that was actually like my next point, because it is a horror comedy, but the movie goes when it goes violent, it goes fucking violent. We're talking flying limbs, bodies exploding, fights that feel more like Looney Tunes filtered through a fucking R rating. It's insane. I mean, the opening to this movie, you get to see Nicolas Cage as Dracula turn into bats, turn into smoke, go into the priest's mouth, and he fucking explodes. I was like, okay, I know what I'm getting into for this movie. If this is the level that we're maintaining, I am fucking in for this movie.
If I had that power amongst the myriad of others, that's the only way I would kill people.
That's it.
Like smoke, internal explosion. Yeah, no, fuck. Like that's the most terrifying.
That is horrifying. And Gabby mentioned this on the Fright Night episode, but that actually was a character from Fright Night, all grown up as playing the priest who got exploded. But what's funny is like the movie is not trying to be grounded in these moments, and it's fascinating because in so many cases it is grounded with the subtext and the themes, but then you get to this heightened violence and it's just leaning into the excess. Like, let's just go, and that's probably where the $65 million budget comes in.
It was it was very much like once the action scenes happened, it was like, okay, we'll take the collar off now. Like we'll let the pit bull go and just let it fucking do its carnage. And then, all right, we got to put the collar back on and like take it over to the next area. But then it's like, all right, collar off time.
And I think one of the most subtle not changes, but one of the coolest things they did with Renfield is that, you know, he eats bugs for the most part in every other iteration, and they use that here to give him the powers of Dracula, which was such a great touch. I loved that. You know, he has to eat a bug, he gets Dracula's powers for a bit, and that's how he's able to do all this superhuman shit.
And it seems like size of the bug gives size of the power.
It does seem like that, because fucking Teddy Lobo at one point, or whatever his name is, like sniffs of millipede up his nose when that final battle happens at their estate, and I was like, oh god. And then all of the other, you know, gangsters come out, and they've all got, you know, Dracula powers as well, which is fucking wild. But I think
it also is kind of funny to me, because in that moment, you know, when everybody's special, nobody's special.
Right.
And it almost, in the most comedic way, invalidates all of Renfield's powers and shit.
It does.
Because it's like, oh, well, Dracula can do this to anybody. You're really not all that special.
Right.
And it almost feels like he is special because Dracula has chosen to torment this guy. Dracula can torment anybody,
right,
but he chose to torment Renfield.
Right, and he makes him feel so inferior by giving that power to all of those people. Yeah. And it's a very, and I love the moment too where, you know, Teddy's like, oh, Dracula powers are awesome. And Renfield's like, yeah, they come with a cost though. And then he realizes that in that moment, and then you get one of the just the best scenes, I think, in the movie. And the CG in some instances is a little wonky, but it's forgivable because of how ridiculous it is. He gets kicked in the stomach, and you cut to that X-ray shot of all the bones.
The Mortal Kombat X-ray shot.
And then he vomits and shits at the same time. And you're just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like I know that is the most CG liquid I've ever seen, but because of how you did it, it's fucking hilarious. Yeah. Like, I will take bad CG if it's bad and genuinely funny.
Right.
But I will not take bad CG when it's meant in earnest.
Yeah, when you're exactly. If it's a little Gumby, but you're doing wild shit, like the whole scene too, when Renfield rips off the cop's arms and he's just smacking them around with his own arms. I'm like, this doesn't look great, but it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like I know he's holding big green foam bats.
Right.
But I don't care, because this, like, beating a man to death with his own arms, or in action movies, any of his own body parts is automatically the most awesome thing you can do in the moment. It goes like, beat a man to death with his own body parts, walk away from explosions without looking. Like, that's as cool as it gets.
Yeah, 1 and 2, that's it. And you know, there are some tonal shifts, of course, in this movie. You have the, like we were talking about, you got to put the collar back on, and I feel like that's where it wobbles just a bit. You know, you go from serious to hilarious to full-blown chaos. Then there's multiple stories, and I think that might be why people are turned off from this movie, because it doesn't have that great of ratings, to be honest. But and that's where I think the movie either wins you over or loses you. I can look past some of the things that I don't really like just because I'm having so much fun. Sure, the Awkwafina storyline, kind of unnecessary. The gangsters, I mean, it works, but I think it's kind of like, I don't think we needed to include all of the gangsters. It literally could have just been Teddy Lobo and his mom, and that, you know, like, so I think
I think the reason that they couldn't do Teddy Lobo and his mom only is because it would feel way too much like Kick-Ass.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Because like, it's not New York, it's New Orleans.
Yeah.
But like, gangster super kingpin parent, spoiled rich ass child, fighting against the quote unquote super powered protagonist who's going through his own shit with Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, he is in that movie. Oh shit. Right, he's in that movie, right? Kick-Ass?
He is, yeah.
Okay. All right, that makes sense then. That makes sense. Very, very good point. Very good point. So it's not a perfectly clean movie, and I think the biggest issue is focus. It can be... There's a lot of storylines kind of competing for attention, and they don't all feel equally developed. Sometimes it's like a character study, then it's an action movie, then it's a satire. So the transitions between those are a little wonky. But at the same time, for me at least, I do think the messiness is part of the charm. It's throwing a lot at the wall, and I would say about 90% of it is sticking to the wall. And
for sure.
I am absolutely satisfied.
And and like you said, with the tonal shifts being wonky, that's kind of why they work, is because it's not like a jarring tonal shift.
Right.
Like, the scene before the tonal shift is at least going to halfway lead into the tonal shift.
Yep.
So, like, Dracula comes in and kills the entire support group, and then you get the tonal shift of the unsteady relationship between Awkwafina and Renfield to establish the tonal shift later of them becoming friends. Like, it works, it's just drunk.
That is the perfect way to put it. It's like a drunk man narrating you a story. It's not really going to make sense, but it is a lot of fun.
But you'll get there, and it'll be fun.
You'll get there, and it'll be fun. Some random notes that I had that I want to kind of go through. I think I hit all of my main points about the story. The last thing I wanted to say about the full story is I just love how this takes a character that's usually overlooked, gives him a full arc, a real struggle, and a reason to exist beyond Dracula. And honestly, it's one of the most entertaining Dracula movies, performances in quite some time, because Dracula movies are pretty formulaic. You have the ones that stand out, What We Do in the Shadows, Afflicted. You have these movies that definitely stand out from the pack with Dracula, but a lot of them are just very formulaic, and I love this one for doing something just so wildly different. I do especially love, though, the recreation scenes from the 1931 Dracula movie that they do with Nicolas Cage Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult. They do a couple of them, and they're fucking incredible. Black and white, on the big staircase. That was amazing. I loved seeing those. I remember seeing those in theaters, and I was like, "Oh, we're going here. Okay, we're like."
Yeah, and when I saw it in theaters the first time, I thought, especially the one on the staircase, I was like, "Oh, they got permission to use the OG." Like,
yeah.
And then the next one happened, and it was like Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult, and I'm like, "Oh no, they just redid it."
Yeah. They redid it. I also love that, opposed to most Dracula films, which are dark and gothic and brooding, did you notice like how bright and vibrant this movie is? Like in that club where they all get attacked, there's so many places in this movie, like Renfield's apartment. It's such a bright, like, vampire movie. It's the complete opposite.
Yeah, so you've got Renfield's life, which he's trying to make brighter and more human and more alive. But even in the dark Dracula bit, it's all like new goth. Like it's that very like bright colors, like those neon, like it's almost cyber goth Dracula.
Ooh, I like that.
But then you get, the classic gothic Dracula. But I think that's why when they had him as the creepy skin monster version, is when they started introducing those colors.
Right. So
they could be like, yeah, it's almost a visual cue to me of this ain't your grandma's Dracula.
Yeah.
Like it's we're just a little bit different Dracula because of the colors that they're using. Even I loved the fucking giant throne of sipped blood bags.
Oh, that was so great.
Like it was so fucking cool because like, did he drink those blood bags, or were they empty blood bags that Renfield was just like, no, this is the perfect touch? Like, how did those get there? I want to know the decoration side of this hospital.
And I really love too that you see him, he gets burnt by the sun in the opening. And I also really love they established that he can turn into bats, he can turn into smoke, sunlight affects him all within the first few minutes. And he's just this wretched, decrepit creature that slowly gets back to full power, which is something. I mean, I'm sure there's iterations out there that do something like this, but usually Dracula's just Dracula and then he burns up by the end or whatever. So seeing him, what did he say when he's on the ground and he's all skin and just like bones, and Renfield says something and he's like, I'm not okay, or whatever he says. And then he goes back to this hospital where he slowly starts to regain power. And then, of course, by the end, he's ready to go, dressed in that red and black suit, which was such a great touch. So I love that. You get to see him at his weakest and then at his most powerful. And then you have a cyclical plot. He at the beginning of the movie, he's stuck in that circle of whatever. And then by the end of the movie, he gets stuck in it again. And then they just go ham. The chainsaws, hammers, fucking everything. And then I think
a mace, a flail.
Yeah, they literally chop him up into tiny bits and throw some concrete over him because they're like, I don't know if this is going to kill him, but it's going to take him along.
Not just throw some concrete over him, but turn him into concrete ice cubes.
Oh, that's what they did.
So that when they pour him into the fucking sewer, like, he gets scattered.
Yeah, so it's like this might keep him at bay for a while. And I like that they didn't officially establish what can and can't kill him because it feels like it's afflicted, like he's just immortal. I don't think there's actually a way to kill him, especially from the beginning when he literally had skin hanging off of his bones and was.
Yeah, he will eventually reconstitute.
Right.
But I think it will be long after the heat death of the universe when that happens.
So sunlight obviously hurts him. His blood has healing qualities. He has to be invited into someone's home. Did you notice any more? Was there anything else? They didn't really go full into the lore.
No, I
don't remember any mention of garlic.
No, but I'm guessing the wooden stakes just based on what the priest had.
That's true.
It looked like flaming wooden stakes that he was shooting.
Okay.
Holy water?
Yeah, I don't know if they mentioned holy water. I just watched this yesterday.
Don't they pour a jug of holy water into something?
Oh yeah, they think they pour the holy water into the concrete, right? Isn't that what they do?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, holy water mentioned.
Holy water mentioned. And then there was one. Oh, I love how they modernized the being welcomed into someone's home because Renfield's apartment has that little mat outside that says,
it says welcome, come on in.
He's like, thank you for the invitation to come in. Oh, it's so good. It's just so much fun. And it brings me back to something I've said a lot. It's just sometimes I feel people don't know how to enjoy a movie. It's Nick Cage's Dracula. You should know what you're getting into just from that alone.
And that's the thing is a lot of people don't know how to enjoy Nicolas Cage.
That's true.
Like he is a very acquired taste for most people.
That's true.
Because he is such a wide and varied range of an actor.
You're not wrong. I mean, you look at him in National Treasure and he plays that pretty straight, He's not very cagey in that movie. You look at something like Mandy, and I would say that's the full level of Nicolas Cage is something like Mandy because he goes fucking insane in that movie.
Or the one that, probably most people would have him from, fucking Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Like, he swings both ways on that. Like, you get some real straight Nicolas Cage, but then, just off on the next scene, he's wiggity-wackety Nicky Cage.
Yeah. No, I agree. I never saw Knowing, which I don't think it's a good...
That movie was a hunk of fucking shit.
I don't think it's a good movie.
No, you should watch it because it's a hunk of fucking shit. but it's a special hunk of shit. So it is exactly the same energy as The Happening.
Okay.
but with Nick Cage.
Okay.
and a little bit more sci-fi.
Yeah, he has so many credits. It's almost impossible to watch every single thing he's ever done.
He's got to have what, like 200 plus?
Looks like he's got a total of 513 credits, but 129 for acting specifically. So, which is pretty crazy. I mean, I still need to see Dream Scenario. I've been wanting to see that one for so long.
That's a fun time. It does get kind of dark for what it is. But that's a fun movie. I would highly suggest it. I'm pretty sure it's still on HBO.
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go on a Nick Cage binge here because I do. But you're right. I mean, you never really know what you're gonna get with him. I just think, I don't know, I guess I've seen enough to know that, like, Nick Cage's Dracula, I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to get. And it was pretty spot on, to be honest. So I think that's all I've got for Renfield. Any other points or things you wanted to mention before we wrap up here?
I mean, this is I don't think I've said this too much this year, but this is a must watch.
Ooh,
I would say. Like it's just a good ass time. Pair it with any other vampire movie, any other Nick Cage movie, really. But throw it on at the end because it's a good palate cleanser. Like this is a turn your brain off, have fun with the ride. Like, this movie isn't gonna make you really, like, yeah, there's some real, like, shrink stuff going on.
Right.
But you don't have to take that with you. Like, this isn't a movie that's gonna burden you. Like, it's not gonna hold a mirror up to you.
Right.
It's, let's just have a fun ass time, and there are no consequences. Like, that's what this movie is.
If I was ever doing like a midnight, like a midnight movie marathon where you did like 4 movies or something like that, I would end with this movie. Like this would be the ending movie to leave everyone on just a high note because it's just so wacky and goofy. So other than that, I think that's all we've got. So that is Renfield from 2023. Let's move on to the final cut. Actually have 3 solid taglines. Sucks to be him, stop serving, start living, and behind every great monster is an overlooked sidekick. I like all 3 of those.
Yeah, those are good.
Those are good. Trivia: despite a history of turning down non-leading roles in studio films, Nicolas Cage signed on to play Dracula. It was a lifelong dream of his to portray the legendary figure. In the original Bram Stoker's Dracula novel, Renfield is described as being at least the age of 59. Many adaptations, however, depict him as a younger man and also having a prior connection to Count Dracula before being locked up in the insane asylum that is overlooked by Dr. John Seward. The circumstances of Renfield meeting Dracula and falling under his control are presented as an extended reference to how Dracula 1931 depicted these events. Several key shots from the 1931 film are even recreated with Holt and Cage in place of Dwight Fry and Bela Lugosi. Likewise, they play music from Swan Lake, which is a shout at the fact that the music was used for the opening credits in the 1931 movie. In an interview with Collider, director Chris McKay admitted that this film is actually intended to serve as a direct sequel to Todd Browning's Dracula from 1931. McKay had also attempted to have the film's trailers and poster refer to this fact, but that did ultimately not pan out.
It happens.
And this is actually a really funny one. Nicolas Cage's uncle, Francis Ford Coppola, directed Bram Stoker's Dracula in 1992. The studio wanted Nick Cage instead of Keanu Reeves to play Jonathan Harker, but Coppola did not want to work with him after their bad experience on Peggy Sue Got Married. That would make me like that movie infinitely more, because no offense to Keanu Reeves, he has the most fuck-awful accent in that movie.
All offense meant to Keanu Reeves. because people fucking flaming him for that for years turned him into the actor he is today.
Fair enough, all right.
Sometimes you gotta bully Hollywood.
Oh, goodness. Rated.
I do have a real quick hot take for you.
Oh, shit, let's go.
Only because you mentioned Nick Cage in a non-leading role, which caused my brain to remember something that I thought about.
Sure.
When Nick Cage is the horribly disgusting skin monster, I am almost positive that that is what Osgood Perkins selected to base the makeup off of for Longlegs, because the face shape is almost exactly the same, and they both say "Hail Satan."
They do. That's right. He says "Hail Satan" at the end of both movies. That's hilarious. Oh shit. All right. Rated 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb for our purposes of the Nightmare Index. That is a 3.2 out of 5. 2.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 58% on the tomato meter, 78% audience score. The audience understood the assignment. What did you give this, Cory?
My original scoring for it was a 5 out of 5.
Whoa.
My current scoring for it is still a 5 out of 5.
Whoa.
And I know this doesn't count toward the Nightmare Index, but Jessica's rating for it is also a 5 out of 5.
Holy shit. Okay, well, I'm giving it a 4.5. So not only is that a Frightmare certified slap, oh man, that gives us a Nightmare Index of 3.9. Holy shit. We brought this from a 2.9 out of 5 to a 3.9 out of 5. That's what the Nightmare Index is all about. I forgot to take a picture of where of the Nightmare Index, but 3.9 is probably in the top 3. I think there's only one movie above that. I think Dawn of the Dead is a 3.78, and then Houseu is like a 4.1, so this might be number 2. I will have to get with the corrections department and get that on next week's episode, but 3.9 is fucking up there. Oh boy, that makes me so happy. Similar movies according to IMDb. This is where it gets really weird. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I get it, Nick Cage is in it. The Last Voyage of the Demeter, cool. Knock at the Cabin, Day Shift, and then Abigail. Knock at the Cabin, not seeing the connection there. Similar movies according to Letterboxd, we have Van Helsing, Blade Trinity, Abigail, Venom Let There Be Carnage, and Cocaine Bear. I don't know what's going on here.
Maybe for the violence levels?
I guess. Do you have any funny reviews, good sir?
Yes, I have, let me see, 4 plus an Eric Cloud review.
Man, he has been watching a lot of the movies we have been watching recently. All right, so I also have 5, as I typically have, so why don't you kick us off?
A half star from Josie Martinez. Aquafina is in it. So it is not just me. Lots of people don't like her.
Yep, that's fair. What do we got? 3.5 stars from NDC 32002. Thought it was going to be about gaslighting bosses, but it's actually a beautiful metaphor for the death of ska music. And I don't understand that. Can you provide any context?
Yes.
Okay.
So, okay.
What do we got?
How far back you want to go?
Just a brief, I don't know.
Okay. So, ska is a genre of music best known for its plucky guitar and horn section.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so you know ska music.
Oh, I know ska, for sure.
Yeah, okay. So after third wave ska, which was the ska that happened in like the 90s, where you got like Real Big Fish and the Aquabats and all of those bands, that's what was considered the death of ska. That like ultra commercialization into like everything's on a Tony Hawk soundtrack now, yada yada. So it was like the death of ska because kind of everybody stopped performing it, it hit a peak and yada yada. But the argument, just as in the 90s it was punk's not dead, the real argument is ska is not dead because there's plenty of bands out there that are still making ska. Just it's in the rock genre, it's one of the lesser respected subgenres of rock and punk music.
All right. All right. What do you got?
A half-star review from Jay Quizzle. What the fuck, Nicholas? Either Nicholas, I suppose.
Yeah, which one are we talking about here? 3 stars from Evasive. The craziest thing about this movie is that Aquafina is a cop. Yeah, I'm not really buying that either, honestly.
5-star and a heart from SAR. 5 bags of popcorn and a few bug candies.
The perfect fucking food for this movie. Let's see. 3 stars from Giaba. I want Nicolas Cage to gaslight me so bad. A 5-star review from Andrew the Man. He put his whole Cajussy into this film. No! Oh, that's a good one.
He was a very cunty Dracula.
He served a lot of cunt. 3 stars from Nat. This one's just vulgar. Nicholas Hoult can rearrange my guts any day. Jesus. All right.
And a surprising review coming from Eric Cloud.
What do we got?
2 stars.
Oh.
Forgot to log. The gore blood was funny. Nothing else was.
Oh. See, we almost always disagree on movies. That's why I was so surprised we agreed on Afflicted. 3.5 from Zara Gwen. Spent most of the movie wondering how Nicholas Hoult was planning on chloroforming a bus full of cheerleaders. I love that. He's like, bring me a bus full of cheerleaders. And then he's at that bar and a bus full of cheerleaders just goes by. He's like, oh, fuck. So, if you enjoy the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher Threads, and YouTube at Frightmares Podcast. Our email is stayspooky@outlook.com. You can also follow me personally on Letterboxd at Dr. Proctor. You are...
Frightmares Cory.
Booyah. If you'd like to expand your movie podcast listening, be sure to check out the Shameless Picture Show, the Dead-Eyed Millennial Film Club, and 1 Week Rental as well. Check out the vast library of someone's favorite productions. Next week, Ryan and I will be doing Let the Right One In from 2008 as our international pick. Ryan is the founder, creator, whatever you want to call, of someone's favorite productions. He is the man in charge, and I'm very happy to have him on. This movie's not streaming, but you can go to Amazon, search for Let the Right One In, do a free trial for Monsters and Nightmares, and then cancel it after you watch it, because they'll give you like 7 free days. So do the free trial, cancel it, or you can rent it for $2.99 on Apple and $3.99 on Amazon.
Also, something else to check.
Yes.
It's not always there. But an invaluable resource is the Library of Congress. They have digitized so many fucking movies that you can find. Okay. Just for like archival preservation. So look there too. Go. Especially if it's an international movie that came over to the States.
Yeah, because it is a Swedish movie. So yeah. That's gonna do it. So until next week, stay tuned and
stay spooky to your full power.
What? That's so weird. Why would you phrase it like that? But yes, he's right.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description